A lot of people have twisted this Bud Light boycott, and realistically, we've always kept it straight and true, no pun intended, when it comes to why this has been so successful, so everlasting, has gone on for well over a month at this point in time. It's because Bud Light fundamentally betrayed their audience. They betrayed the people that actually drink the stuff in an attempt to simply gleam on to a burgeoning audience, apparently, for the marketing executives, which have since been fired. Some of them, they're on temporary vacation, right? A leave of absence because things have been so stressful. Don't mind those third-party ad agencies, but no, that's always been my take on this. Don't betray your customers. Just the customer is always right. In certain exceptions, always withstanding, but in the grand scheme of things, if you don't placate to your audience, well, or rather appeal to your audience, right? You're just going to end up losing your base. So when you try to make a transition, if you think that there is some place where your message, your product, your what have you would be more receptive over in a different area, you have to make the pivot. You're going to realize that you're going to upset some of your existing base, but if there's a more lucrative market that's out there, you got to do what's best for business at the end of the day. But in doing research for this, because I've seen a bunch of people already talk about this earlier today, so of course I will add my 2 cents on it, but also something else I haven't seen anybody else talk about, and something that has gone completely under the radar for me, because I wasn't really paying attention to this stuff before Dylan hopped on the Bud Light bandwagon and summarily crashed it because, women drivers and all. Bud Light, in its attempt to court the big gay audience, had already tried that. And it had already failed, and I haven't seen anybody point this out before, because this came out, take a look at that, in June of 2021. So they already tried all this pride stuff 2 years ago, and it didn't work. So why did they think that this would work again? So, yeah, like I said, in doing some research for this stuff, trying to find a different source, kind of tired of using the same old, but in this situation, hilarious. Stonewall Inn, kind of where most of this big gay stuff ended up kicking off way back in the cut, to pour Bud Light down the drain in Anheuser Busch protest. Funny. 2 years ago, at the epicenter of queerness, Anheuser Busch products got kicked to the curb. And then, I guess we know the half-life of marketing, about 2 years apparently. The owners of the Stonewall Inn in New York say that they will not serve some beers at the famous LGBTQ plus bar during Pride weekend. Man, remember when it just used to be a weekend? It wasn't a month or a season or a year or a decade or an entire lifetime. That might actually be shorter than some of the seasons. 42% can't be wrong. To protest against manufacturer Anheuser-Busch's political contributions to some politicians who have supported anti-queer legislation. Hilarious. See, you can never be woke enough. That's why you see the other protests. We might have to dig into that maybe tomorrow, because I also have another video that I want to show everybody. But finding this stuff was just, it was an absolute gold mine. This year, co-owners Stacey Lentz and Kurt Kelly said that they would be instituting a ban on Friday to support the Keep Your Pride campaign, a recently launched effort highlighting 5 companies they say advertise support during Pride, but also have made contributions to big gay lawmakers. The campaign, a project of corporate accountability action, used data compiled by the National Institute of Money in Politics to show that Anheuser-Busch contributed more than $35,000 to 29 legislatures. So when anybody runs it back and says that AB pays a lot of money to Republican or even just politicians that don't completely bend the knee, a few $100 over the course of 5 years, bruh, this is the group that they were trying to placate to with Dylan Mulvaney. It was just one can. It wasn't a full-fledged marketing campaign. Bro, they threw a spurg out, a $35,000 spread across 29 people in the course of 5 fucking years. This is so wild. We just felt Stonewall having the platform, the power to do this. It was important to stand up, Lentz said. We really just want Anheuser-Busch to stop donating to lawmakers who are trying to legalize discrimination. More than 250 big gay bills have been introduced in the state legislature this year, and that's probably gone up considerably if we were to go ahead and take that marker from 2021 and transpose it pun somewhat intended, to 2023, it would be a big difference, and a big W difference, to be completely honest. But yeah, hilarious. This is the group. People who fundamentally despise you because you cannot be woke enough. Look at what they did with Disney. Disney was just going to be apolitical when it came to the parental education and rights bill in Florida. But no. You got to go out there and you got to go defend sexualization of children in kindergarten to grade 3. And now you got the round-headed governor who, I don't know, is he on the AIDS or vegan diet? Like, yo, what the fuck is going on with Ron DeSantis? But hope he doesn't die. He's one of the better options that's not Trump in case of emergency if you're stupid enough to actually indict the dude. But regardless, to run this back, they turned on you for less money than Dylan Mulvaney got paid for those 2 spots on TikTok. $50,000 at least. We're not even privy to how much it ultimately was. And a free can. Anheuser Busch, on the other hand, gave nominal contributions. Fucking Christ. Yo, there's dudes right now. We could check. And we might later tonight in the stream that's going on tonight, because I got a couple of ideas. It's going to be kind of a grab bag idea when this gets posted. Give me about 30 to 45 minutes and we'll probably be up and live. But anyways, no. There are probably bigger contributions to Amaranth from Simpson her chat than what Anheuser-Busch gave individual legislators. Holy shit. And that was that's the type of group that Bud Light was trying to court. But then at the same time, now they're back to their old ways. Bud Light boycott gets so much worse as gay bars join the fray. Bruh. Terrible. Listen, you had one bar in Fairfax, Indiana. I remember the name. There was the Fairfax bar in Indiana and Bloomingfield. I believe that's correct. So this is by Douglas Golden. I'll say this much for Dylan Mulvaney, the transgender grifter, who most of us are blissfully unaware of until sometime last month. No, or if you can cast your minds back to earlier in Biden's presidency when Mulvaney got put on by having that one-on-one exclusive interview with Biden, which, why? But you kind of know why now. A total plant. He's done something that over 40 years of making terrible beer couldn't do. He's making everyone, yo, it's so dead and it's so hilarious, and it's one of those tentpole moments in history where you just have to stop and marvel and wonder, wow, when is the slide gonna end? Not anytime soon. It began, of course, when the trans influencer participated in the promotional campaign for the brand, kind of a leap for the beer, that prided itself as a middle American blue-collar image. You can see that with the previous ad that came out about this time last week that we covered as well. And look what they're trying to pivot back around to. Country music, young 21 to 25-year-olds, and somehow you thought advertising with a mentally deranged TikToker whose audience, if you took a look at it, is probably well under the drinking age, that would be a good move for you. All right then. From Block Club Chicago on Friday, a slew of Chicago gay bars have stopped selling Anheuser-Busch InBev products. Oh, so it's not even just Bud Light. And it's like, we don't want any of that stuff. And Jesus Christ, we're gay. We're not creeps. After the beer giants distanced itself from transgender influencer Dylan Mulvaney, Bud Light marketing campaign amid anti-trans backlash. You can never be woke enough. See, that's what happens, man. You don't double down with the people that are ultimately killing your brand, and then the audience that you were trying to court to begin with now won't even accept you anymore. Oh, it's lovely to see. Ah, yes, the perfidious anti-trans backlash, according to the report. The first to drop the beers was Two Bears Tavern. Sorry about that. I don't like to apologize for things, but that was the ultra gay. Which owns 4 gay bars in the Midwestern city. Anheuser-Busch is... Oh, no, right. These are bears, so... I don't know. Decision to drop its support for Mulvaney in response to ignorant and hateful objections by some of its customers shows how little Anheuser-Busch cares about the big gay community. We'll just go back and, yep, okay, what were they doing back in 2021? All right, pouring out Bud Light because they didn't support them hard enough. And now what are they doing? pouring out Bud Light because they don't support them hard enough. Jesus. And in particular, transgender people who have been under unrelenting attack in the country. How so? How so? Because one of the most, that's not Dylan Mulvaney, one of the most prominent trans people right now, they're being protected by the government. Aubrey Hale. Heard about that? Yeah, exactly. You're supposed to get a manifesto, right? Hilarious. It's CEO's statement in which he all but erased transgender people in favor of anti-trans vitriol was cruel and hurtful. CEO Brendan Whitworth's excuse that Anheuser Busch never intended to be part of the discussion that divides people was tantamount to saying that the rights of transgender people are topics worthy of debate. They are not. It is trans rights or no rights for anyone. Another Chicago gay bar called The Sidetrack, of course, also joined the boycott. We must also hold brands accountable if they want to take active steps against the big gay community. Visibility and safety. The bar posted. Of course. Never mind the uproarious idea of the safety and rights of transgender people include the right to be part of a promotional campaign. No, exactly. They're the ones that always talk about needing representation. I have to identify with everything that I see. Could you imagine? And then, yes, whenever they say, no, I don't really care. Why are you so fragile? Why are you a snowflake? It's like, if you need to be represented everywhere that you go, if you need to have your existence affirmed every waking moment of the day, who's actually the one who's fucking mentally compromised? But hey, man, Bud Light, it legitimately can't win at this point in time. Can't give the shit away. Can't spin it so that your wholesalers and distributors can turn a buck. The gays have turned on you. Country music fans are calling you tranny fluid. It's legitimately, you are stuck between a rock and a hard place. Both of those things you could probably find at some of those bars that are currently boycotting Bud Light. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.